today by Bronwyn Barnes, Executive Chairman of Indiana Resources, stock code IDA. Bronwyn, thanks for your time.
Thanks, good to be here.
You've recently picked up some exciting ground in South Australia. What drew you to this project area?
Oh look, we thought that South Australia in generally had been overlooked. We liked this particular region because it had a history of gold production and gold discoveries. And when we were looking for what we wanted out of a new project, we wanted a significant land package. So we weren't interested in postage stamp size tenements. We wanted something that was contiguous and held together quite well. So look, we've managed to accumulate just on 5,000 square kilometres of ground in the central Gawler Craton.
And this particular area is well endowed, well known in the mining circles.
Absolutely, and look, it has had a historic record of gold production at both Tarcoola and Tunkillia. But really the last time that this region had some significant exploration dollars spent on it was probably 20 years ago. So we thought it was a really good opportunity to go into an underexplored region, and particularly at depth. So the maximum drilling depth that our ground had was probably up to about 150 metres. So yeah, good opportunity for us.
And you hit the ground running.
We did.
Picked the project up straight into exploration.
Yeah.
What have some of the highlights of that piece of activity been?
Oh, look, I think we completed the transaction in October of last year, and we got onto the ground really quickly. So we were drilling in the middle of January and finished up at the end of Jan. Look, the first round of results that came in were really quite exciting. And so I think our top grade was 38 metres at 6.5 grams. So that's a really substantial number, and we only drilled 10 holes in that first program. It was a bit of an exploratory program to find our way. But we actually had 9 of those holes ended in the mineralised shear zone, so quite exciting for us.
And what depths did you get down to?
It was a maximum depth of about 150 metres once again. But what we did do in that program was that we did 3 RC collars for diamond tails. So look, we've got a diamond tail program that's happening in about another 2 or 3 weeks. We'll go back in and we'll do 3 diamond tails and extend some of those holes out. But what we've also done is recently finished another 2,000 metres of RC drilling. Now that RC drilling, some of those holes went up to a maximum of 250 metres. So we're still working through those results. Assays were delivered to the lab on the weekend. So another 3 or 4 weeks we should have those results to market, but we managed to extend those exploration holes at depth. So that was a good move for us.
So you've got this batch of assays coming. Yep. What's the next piece of drilling activity or exploration activity on the project look like?
Yeah, look, well, we've got the diamond program happening mid to late May, which is a smaller program, as I said, just the 3 diamond tails, just to get some more technical information, structural information about the area. And then we've got 3,500 metres of air core that will start late May. So look, we think that there's a really strong program of news flow into the market that will go into June, July of this year. And that sort of sets us really up well then to have a more expanded exploration program happen in the back half of this calendar year.
Whenever you pick a project up, you always look at historical data and hope that it starts to match and you start building some excitement yourself around what you think you might have.
Yeah.
Is this project delivering for what
Absolutely, I think it's delivering in spades. So look, I think that when you compare the historical results that had been done by previous companies who had tenure over the assets and had drilled historically, we've managed to really upgrade the results and really build on those. And we've taken a different geological approach. So the technical team have drilled in a different direction than previous teams had drilled. So that was a bit of a different way of looking at the structure or potential structure of the asset. We're pretty comfortable that we're now on the right path. Hopefully the diamond tails will give us that little bit more technical information to be able to refine our future RC drilling programs towards the end of this year.
As the results come together, how do you progress the project past the delineation of these results? How do you progress it towards a project?
Towards definition of a resource.
Yeah.
Look, the particular project area that we're drilling at the moment is an area called Minos. Now, combined with the historic drilling that had been done there, we think that there's a strong potential for us to expand the RC drilling program towards the end of this year and do some additional diamond holes as well. And we're really trying to get a resource up for Minos by December of 2021. And that would be our first resource, inside the quite extensive project portfolio that we have. But there's a number of other prospects that we're really keen to get on the ground and have a look at as well. So at the moment we're moving through our native title negotiations and other land access approvals and hope to be on the ground on those other project areas later on this year.
People know Indiana for a project in Tanzania.
Correct.
How is that process evolving and where is things at in terms of that project?
Okay, so look, the licence for the Nataka Hill nickel sulphide project was cancelled by the Tanzanian government nearly 3 years ago now. And we had worked with the Tanzanian government over a period of 2 years to try and negotiate a new form of tenure, be it a prospecting licence or a mining licence. Unfortunately, we weren't able to reach agreement with the Tanzanians, and the Tanzanian government actually advertised the assets for sale on their website in December 2019. So that for us triggered a process of arbitration for illegal expropriation of the Nataka Hill asset. Now this was a substantial asset that had been held by Indiana for a number of years, more than 18 years, and had more than $60 million US spent on it. So there's been a historic and significant investment by Indiana shareholders into the asset. So look, we have commenced the process now of arbitration. The first hearing was held on the 22nd of April through the World Bank, who is, the panel that will oversee the arbitration process. And we're very comfortable that the whole program now for arbitration hearings has been set for the next 2 years. And of course, I've also managed to secure litigation funding to cover all of my legal costs. So we've de-risked, the arbitration process for shareholders, and I think it's a really good opportunity for us to seek compensation for the loss of the asset.
You've mentioned arbitration. What's the process of arbitration? What are the likely outcomes?
Okay, so it's a defined a process that runs for about 2.5 years. I've been very upfront in my initial claim for compensation against the government of Tanzania for the loss of the asset. So I am seeking $95 million US in compensation. And I think that Indiana's got a very strong case for that, and obviously securing litigation funding is a really good endorsement of the quality of the case that Indiana has. So look, we will move through that process. I think any compensation that flows to Indiana as part of the arbitration, we would look to use for exploration in South Australia and to support our efforts there, but also very keen to return or to consider a capital return to shareholders at some point.
That piece of activity clearly being dealt with in a very professional way. Eyes and ears should all be turned to what's happening in South Australia.
Absolutely.
Exciting times ahead for Indiana shareholders. Bronwyn, thanks for your time.
Great, thanks.